The emergency summons. "Step into my chambers now." The words echoed through the diplomatic corridor with such force that Dr. Marcus Chen nearly dropped his medical scanner. Ambassador Thalia's voice carried a sharp edge he'd never heard before, not in the 3 months since the Zolovian delegation had arrived aboard the treaty station. Marcus quickened his pace toward her private quarters, his medical bag swinging at his side. The security panel outside her door was flashing red. She'd overwritten the standard protocols. When he pressed his palm to the access pad, the door hissed open immediately. The sight inside stopped him cold. Thalia stood in the center of her chamber, one hand braced against the edge of her ornate desk. Her normally vibrant purple skin had darkened several shades, almost violet now, with patches of deeper color spreading across her neck and collarbone. Her breathing came in short, controlled bursts, as though she were fighting against some invisible force. "Ambassador," Marcus started, but she raised one trembling hand to silence him. "Close the door, Doctor," she said, her voice strained. "Engage the privacy locks. All of them." He did as instructed, sealing them both inside. The ambient lighting in the room seemed too bright suddenly, highlighting the fine tremor running through her limbs. Marcus had seen Zolovian physiology under stress before, but never like this. "What happened?" he asked, moving toward her with professional calm even as his mind raced through possibilities. Thalia's dark eyes locked onto his. "Someone at the treaty signing ceremony," she managed. "The ceremonial drink they offered me. It was contaminated." "Contaminated with what?" "A compound," she hissed, gripping the desk harder, "designed specifically for my species. I recognized the initial symptoms immediately." She took another shaky breath. "It is called Verif's curse among my people, a forced biological reaction." Marcus set his bag down and pulled out his medical scanner. "Let me examine you." "There is no time for slow examination," Thalia snapped, though pain flickered across her faces. "I know what this toxin does, Doctor. I need you to understand what it requires." He moved closer anyway, scanner active. The readings that appeared made his stomach drop. Her metabolic rate was accelerating rapidly, her core temperature rising. Her biochemistry was being hijacked, pushed toward a specific biological state. "This is a weaponized compound," he said quietly, looking up from the scanner. "Yes," Thalia confirmed, "designed to force a Zolovian into a bonding cycle. Without a catalyst to complete the process, my system will burn itself out from the inside." She met his gaze directly. "I have perhaps 4 hours before my heart fails." Marcus's mind shifted immediately into clinical mode. "What kind of catalyst? What do you need?" Thalia pushed away from the desk, took 2 unsteady steps toward him, and Marcus saw something in her expression that sent a chill through him. Not fear exactly, but something close to resignation. "A partner," she said, her voice dropping lower. "The toxin forces a biological bonding sequence. It requires intimate physical contact with a compatible species to neutralize." She paused, her jaw tightening. "It must be sustained contact. It must be chosen consciously by me before I lose the ability to choose." The weight of her words settled over the room. Marcus swallowed. "Compatible species, meaning?" "Zolovian or human," Thalia said flatly. "Our biochemistries are similar enough." She took another step closer. "But there are no other Zolovians on this station I would trust with such vulnerability. My delegation includes rivals, spies, those who would use this against me." "Then we contact the medical bay. We find someone." "No," Thalia cut him off sharply. "You do not understand, Doctor. If I am sedated, the toxin reacts violently. If I lose consciousness, my heart stops. I must remain awake. I must choose willingly." Her eyes bore into his. "And I must choose someone I trust completely." Another wave of the toxin hit her.
The diagnosis and dilemma. Thalia's knees buckled without warning. Marcus lunged forward and caught her before she hit the floor. Her weight sagged against him, and he could feel the heat radiating through her clothing. She was burning up. "Easy," he said, guiding her toward the low couch near the viewport. "Let me help you." She allowed it, which told him how serious this was. Thalia never accepted help, never showed weakness. Her fingers gripped his forearm as he lowered her onto the cushions, and he noticed the fine tremor had spread to her hands. "How long has it been since you ingested the compound?" Marcus asked, pulling his scanner out again. 43 minutes, Thalia said through clenched teeth. The initial symptoms began at the ceremony. I excused myself immediately. Marcus ran the scanner over her again, this time taking detailed readings. The data that appeared confirmed his worst fears. The toxin was synthetic, engineered with precision. Someone had studied Zolovian biology extensively to create this. This wasn't random, he said. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. Obviously, Thalia managed, another wave of pain crossing her features. They wanted me vulnerable, wanted me to lose control in front of the other ambassadors. She closed her eyes briefly. Instead, I made it here. Marcus watched the readings fluctuate. Her heart rate was climbing again, her body temperature rising another degree. The toxin was accelerating, forcing her biology toward a specific state, a bonding cycle that required completion or would result in system failure. Thalia, he said carefully, I need you to explain exactly what this catalyst process involves. She opened her eyes and looked at him directly. The toxin mimics a natural Zolovian bonding cycle. It forces the body to seek a partner for biological synchronization. The process requires sustained physical contact, skin to skin, over the extended period. She paused. It requires intimacy, Doctor. Complete intimacy. Marcus felt his chest tighten. You mean exactly what you think I mean, Thalia interrupted. The biochemical exchange must be comprehensive. It is the only way to trigger the neutralization sequence that breaks down the toxin. He sat back on his heels, processing. And you said you must choose consciously? Yes, she confirmed. If I lose the ability to choose, if the toxin pushes me past rational thought, my instincts will simply latch on to the nearest compatible person. Her voice dropped. That kind of forced bond is dangerous, violent. My body would treat it as an attack. It could kill both me and whoever I bond with. Marcus ran his hand through his hair. So you need to choose someone before that happens? Correct, Thalia said, then gasped as another spike hit her. This one was stronger. Her back arched slightly, her fingers digging into the couch cushions. Marcus reached for her shoulder to steady her. Breathe, he said. Just breathe through it. She did, her breath coming in controlled bursts until the wave passed. When she opened her eyes again, they were darker, her pupils dilated. The spikes are getting closer together, she whispered. I have less time than I thought. Marcus checked his scanner again. She was right. The intervals between symptoms were shortening. We need to make a decision, he said. Is there anyone else on this station you trust? Anyone from the human delegation? Thalia shook her head. The human ambassador is a political opponent. His staff report everything to him. She looked at Marcus. There are protocols, Doctor, rules about who witnesses a Zolovian in this state. If word spreads that I was vulnerable, that I required assistance, my authority collapses. Your life is more important than politics. My life is politics, Thalia countered. If I survive this but lose my position, lose the treaty negotiations, then my people suffer. She gripped his wrist suddenly, her purple fingers wrapping around his arm. I need someone who will keep this secret. Someone with access to medical knowledge. Someone I trust. The implication hung in the air between them. Marcus met his gaze. Thalia, you can't be suggesting. I am not suggesting, she said quietly. I am asking. Another tremor ran through her. You are the only person on this station who meets every requirement. You have the medical knowledge to understand what is happening. You have security clearance to be here without questions. And you, she paused, you have never given me reason to doubt your discretion. I'm your doctor, which is precisely why this makes sense. You already know my physiology. You already have access to my medical data. Her grip tightened. And I trust you, Marcus. I trust you more than anyone else here. He looked down at where her hand gripped his wrist. Her skin was hot against his.
The Catalyst Protocol. Marcus's mind raced through the implications, the ethics, the sheer impossibility of what she was asking. But then another wave hit Thalia, and this one was brutal. She doubled over with a strangled sound, her entire body going rigid. Marcus caught her shoulders, feeling the heat pouring off her skin. The scanner on his belt began beeping urgently. Thalia, stay with me, he said. She couldn't speak. Her breathing had turned ragged, desperate. Her fingers clawed at his arms, seeking anchor, seeking relief. For a long moment she trembled violently, and Marcus thought she might lose consciousness despite her warnings. Then the wave broke. Thalia sagged forward, her forehead pressing against his shoulder. "That was worse," she gasped. "They are getting worse." Marcus pulled back enough to look at her face. The purple of her skin had deepened to almost indigo in places, spreading down her neck. Her eyes, when she opened them, were unfocused, fighting to stay present. "How much time?" he asked quietly. "Minutes, maybe an hour at most, before I cannot think clearly anymore." Her hand found his again. "Please, Marcus, I am asking you. I am choosing you." He thought of his oath. First, do no harm. He thought of the woman before him, brilliant and fierce, reduced to this by someone's cruelty. He thought of what would happen if he refused, if she burned out alone, or latched onto someone who would use this against her. "If we do this," Marcus said slowly, "we do it properly, medically supervised as much as possible. I monitor your vitals throughout." Relief flooded Thalia's features. "Yes," she breathed. "Yes, whatever you need." "And afterwards," he continued, "we find who did this to you." "Agreed," Thalia said, then gasped as another tremor started building. "But Marcus, we must begin now." He helped her stand, guided her toward the sleeping chamber adjacent to her main quarters. The room was dimly lit, the bed large and covered in deep blue fabric. Marcus tried to think clinically, tried to approach this as a medical procedure. Thalia's hands shook as she began unfastening her formal diplomatic robes. "Let me," Marcus said gently. He moved to help her, his hand steady even as his heart pounded. The robes fell away, revealing the simple undergarments beneath. Her purple skin seemed to glow in the low light, the darker patches spreading across her shoulders and down her arms. She watched him as he helped her onto the bed. "You are afraid," she observed. "I'm concerned," Marcus corrected, removing his jacket. "This is unprecedented. For you, perhaps. For my people, the bonding cycle is natural, sacred." She reached for him as the pain increased, but never forced, never weaponized like this. Marcus moved onto the bed beside her. He pulled out a small medical monitor and attached it to her wrist. "This will track your vitals. If anything goes wrong—" "Nothing will go wrong," Thalia interrupted. Then her breath hitched. "Marcus, please, I need you closer." He shifted, bringing himself alongside her. His hand found hers, their fingers intertwined. Thalia turned toward him, her free hand reaching up to touch his face. "Thank you," she whispered, "for trusting me, for helping me." "I'm not going to let you die," Marcus said firmly. Another wave crashed over her, stronger than before. Thalia's body arched, pressing against him. Her skin burned where it touched him. Marcus wrapped his arms around her, holding her steady, trying to provide the contact her body desperately needed. "Talk to me," he said against her temple. "Tell me what you feel." "Fire," Thalia gasped. "Everything is fire, but where you touch me, it cools, it helps." Marcus pulled her closer, one hand sliding up her spine. He could feel her heart racing against his chest, could feel the tremors running through her muscles. "I've got you," he murmured. "Just breathe." She did, following his rhythm. Their breathing synchronized. Slowly, gradually, the spike began to ease. Thalia's grip loosened slightly. "It is working. The contact, it is working." Marcus checked the monitor on her wrist. Her heart rate was still elevated but stabilizing. The temperature readings were beginning to drop. "The catalyst effect is initiating." Thalia pulled back just enough to look at him. Her eyes were clearer now, more focused. "Then we continue," she said. "We must maintain contact until the toxin breaks completely." "How long will that take?" "Hours," she admitted. "The biochemical exchange must reach a certain threshold." Her hand moved to his chest, resting over his heart. "We must synchronize completely." Marcus nodded, understanding. He shifted them both so they were lying face to face, their bodies aligned. His hand traced down her arm, finding the monitor again. "I'll track everything," he promised. Thalia's fingers slid into his hair, pulling him closer. "Then let us begin properly," she whispered. When their lips met, it was not gentle. The toxin flared through Thalia immediately, demanding more contact, more connection. Marcus responded instinctively, deepening the kiss. His hands moved across her skin, tracing the patterns of darker purple spreading across her shoulders and down her arms. Each touch seemed to ease her pain, seemed to pull her back from the edge. "Marcus," she gasped between kisses, "do not stop. Please do not stop." "I won't," he promised. The medical monitor beeped steadily as their bodies found their rhythm. The catalyst process was brutal and beautiful, demanding complete vulnerability from both of them. Thalia trembled in his arms through multiple spikes, each one less severe than the last. Marcus held her through all of it, murmuring reassurances, providing the steady presence her hijacked biology needed. Time blurred.
The investigation begins. Dawn's cycle brought silence. Marcus woke first, his arms still wrapped around Thalia's waist. The medical monitor showed stable readings, finally. Her temperature had normalized, her heart rate steady. The purple of her skin had returned to its usual vibrant shade. She stirred against him, eyes opening slowly. "It broke," she whispered. "The toxin, I can feel it. It's gone." "Your vitals confirm it," Marcus said, checking the monitor again. "You're safe now." Thalia sat up carefully, pulling the sheet around herself. For a long moment she simply sat there, processing. Then her expression hardened, shifting from vulnerable to dangerous. "Now we find who did this." Marcus retrieved his scanner and began analyzing the residual toxin traces in her system. "I can isolate the chemical signature," he said, "track where it came from." "And I," Thalia said, standing and moving toward her clothing, "will discover who had access to my ceremonial drinks." She dressed quickly, efficiently. No one poisons as a Lovian ambassador without leaving traces. They worked separately, but in parallel. Marcus ran the toxin analysis through the station's database, while Thalia began quietly interrogating her staff. By mid-cycle, they had answers. "The compound was introduced through a rare wine," Thalia said, when they met in a secure lab. "Only 3 people had access to that bottle." Marcus pulled up his analysis, and the toxin itself required advanced knowledge of Zolovian biochemistry. He highlighted a name on his screen. "This synthesis pattern matches research done by Dr. Bennett from the human delegation." Thalia's eyes narrowed. "Bennett reports directly to Ambassador Richter." She pulled up a personnel file. "But the wine was handled by my own attendant, Verena." "Could they be working together?" Marcus asked. "They must be," Thalia said grimly. "Richter wants the treaty to fail. He needs me discredited." She looked at Marcus. "If I had lost control publicly at the ceremony, if I had bonded with someone randomly, the scandal would have destroyed my position." Marcus felt anger surge through him. "They tried to kill you." "Worse," Thalia corrected. "They tried to humiliate me first, then kill me." She straightened her shoulders. "We need proof before I can act." "I have the chemical analysis," Marcus offered, "and I can trace Bennett's supply requisitions." "And I," Thalia said with a cold smile, "will make Verena talk." Uncovering the betrayal. The confrontation happened in Thalia's chambers that evening. Verena stood before them, her purple skin pale with fear, as Thalia presented the evidence. Marcus stood to the side, medical monitor in hand, monitoring for deception. "You will tell me everything," Thalia said, her voice deadly calm. "Or I will have you charged with attempted assassination of a diplomatic official." Verena broke immediately. "Ambassador Richter approached me 3 months ago," she confessed. "He offered me citizenship, protection, a new life." Her voice shook. "All I had to do was ensure you received that specific bottle of wine." "And Bennett provided the compound," Marcus added. "Yes," Verena whispered. "He said it would just make you sick, embarrass you during the ceremony." She looked at Thalia with desperate eyes. "I did not know it would kill you, I swear." Thalia's expression remained cold. "Ignorance is not innocence." She gestured to the security panel. "You will provide a full confession. You will testify against Richter and Bennett." Verena nodded frantically. Within hours, station security had arrested both Bennett and Ambassador Richter. The evidence was overwhelming. The treaty negotiations would continue, but under new human leadership. Later, alone again in Thalia's chambers, Marcus and she stood by the viewport watching stars drift past. "You saved my life," Thalia said quietly, "and my career, my people's future." "We saved each other," Marcus corrected. She turned to face him. "The bonding process," she began carefully, "it creates a biochemical connection, not permanent, but—" She paused. "I will be drawn to you now. My body recognizes yours as safe, as trusted." "And does that trouble you?" Marcus asked. She considered. "It should," she admitted. "It complicates everything." She stepped closer. "But I find I do not mind as much as I thought I would." "Neither do I." She reached up, her purple fingers tracing his jawline. "This changes nothing," she whispered. "Except everything," Marcus finished. When she kissed him this time, there was no toxin driving her, no medical emergency forcing their connection. Just choice. Just trust. Just them. "Stay tonight," Thalia murmured against his lips. "Not because I need you, but because I want you." Marcus smiled. "Then I'll stay." Outside the viewport, the stars continued their endless dance. And inside, two people who had saved each other found something neither had expected. Something worth keeping.